Right, this is on my way back from Dolfor, where I went to the church, so I thought I'd show you this. This is the underpass, well, overpass, whatever you want to call it, coming off the Dingle Hall Road from Dolfor, the shortcut back into Newtown, and being up by Garth Owen down to Liddell's. And these are the bridges of the bypass that they built. And you can see they cross over, which I didn't even notice that before. There were two bridges more or less in line over each other, as you can see over there. Anyway, all these houses here were compulsory bought by the Welsh office or Paris County Council, whichever. And yeah, so these were derelict for a long time, and just recently it looks like the houses all down here being bought. So I thought, on the way back down, I thought I'll show you where we are. So they've got a nice new sign, they've put all new fencing around it, make it nice and private. Woodside Cottage, as you can see up there. You can see where all the water runs down. And that's the bit I want to show you in a second, where all the water goes, and it's quite clever what they did when they built this bypass. So I just thought it'd be nice to have a little walk and just show you underneath the bypass, because it's somewhere you don't see very often. Again, that's massive. That's really high. I don't know if the camera shows you it's that high, but it's amazingly high. And yeah, they certainly made sure that's all private with the fence and everything. All these bricks to make sure there's no subsidence. Rocks in cages, as I would better say. But there you go. That's underneath the bypass. Massive structure, that. In the time they did it, I was quite surprised. Technology. So yeah, so they commandeered all this land, and the poor people had to move out. And yeah, so they've resold the land. Different angle of the bridge. They sold the land to new people. So over the last year or so, they were up for sale, year or two. Nobody seemed to buy them, and then all of a sudden, boom! With all this market thing going on at the minute, they were snapping them up quick because they were quite cheap to buy. So yeah, this one looked horrendous. It looked like it yeah, it was in quite a bad state, but it looks like they're doing it up now. You've got a fence all around it. Only had a hedge before. As you can see, it's all been done up. Again, the bridge looks nice and distance. Not a lot of noise considering. You'd expect it to be louder than what it is. So yeah, so they've done a half decent job with the house. Brought it back up to a nice standard. Pity I didn't have a picture earlier, but if I can get one off the internet, I will. But you can see the bridge looks towering above. So yeah. So it looks like they're all putting a new fence up here. Keep people out, because like you say, being out in the country, it's... you never know what's going to happen. And you got that for a pretty penny, most probably. So... but the thing why I wanted to come down here wasn't just to show you the bridge, it was to show you this. Because that's of course like the drainage for the bypass, because a lot of water will rush past. Look at the mist in the distance. You see that over Newtown. And yeah, the water, whoa, a lot of water passes through here. And yeah, fair dues. They certainly sorted that out. So this is where it starts from, off the mountain, and goes down here, and I'll walk across here now. So we'll step in a pothole and break my bloody ankle at Muller. But yeah, so all this water rushes off the mountain, but this is the water that used to come off the mountain before, go straight down past Garth Owen, straight past Liddell's, right under the town centre by Park Street, and yeah, it used to flood really bad sometimes. Park Street used to get the brunt of it, and up by Argus. This is the recent time, not like in the old days when in the 1960s we had the big floods in town, but that had been sorted by diverting the river. So now with the bypass, all this extra water's coming out, they had to think about diverting the water from the mountain down so it didn't cause any floods anywhere else. So they did this, and this is a construction in its own. So I thought I'd show you this. So that's the water coming through, and what they've done is they divide it around and they use some massive boulders. You can't really see them as much now because it's been a few years now since they've done this, and they've diverted the water through here, which is quite nice. Now this is only a steady flow. We've had a bit of rain over yesterday, but this water would have been coming down here really fast. As you can see, there's the bypass on the island up by Garth Owen. So yeah, so they built all this to drain the water off, and then they had to pass. So in other words, they've moved the water sideways to make sure it expands more. But as you can see, yeah, it's blowing quite nicely at the minute, but on a really bad day it is chucking it through here. Like I said, there's been no problems in the town since they've done this. As you can imagine, the excess water off the bypass, like a river coming off there. Anyway, so I thought I'd show this off, because you wouldn't even come and even look at this, but the engineering and all that over there to here, and then it goes across the road. I'll just go across here now. Oh. Engineer the road here, so yeah, so then they will picture again. Oh, I can see, you be careful here, they'll knock you over. And yeah, it comes under the road here. I'm not climbing over there, I'll go around it this time. And he built a little lake here just to take the access off, which everybody in Newtown knows it's here because there's no reason to walk down here. But it's quite nice to know that, like say, all that water would get stored in there, get a certain height before it releases. And over here again, you can see where it comes under the road. And it's broken up with big boulders again in between to keep the flow of the water not to come down too fast. So yeah, so that's how all the water was taken off the top of the bypass down. So as you can see, I've come from up there where that lake part was, and the water's coming down, and this is where it comes down to. Another you can see is a grid. It moves up and down slightly to stop all the big logs getting through. So this water comes along here and goes down towards David Lloyd. So I thought while I was here, I just thought I'd do a walk up and just show where that access water goes through. It's hard to believe it goes through the town. But as you can see, it's running quite quick at the minute, and I've seen it more fierce than this. When it comes down, it's ferocious, if that's the word. But we had a lot of rain yesterday, so most of it all went through. But just thought I'd show you where it goes, because otherwise you wouldn't know. Nobody knows about this unless you really are living in the area. So as you can see, that water's coming down pretty fast now. So see by the sound of it, that's even not even half the power. So yeah, it shoots up there, down to here, and then across the road. And I've got somebody waving at me here. Hi buddy, all the school kids. That's why we've been swimming. That's this time of day. So yeah, so you walk across here, there's Garth Owen. Newtown High School, and then we're coming on to down towards the road to Lidl's. And if not many people noticed, there's that new Hope Church in the distance, and they built that pretty quick. A lot of problems back in the day. Yeah, and notice it started cracking on the bottom part where you can see the colour change and the fencing around, and so it looks like they had to redo it all. So yeah, so that was a big church, a little church to start with, but it's a massive church now. It's humongous. So like I say, childcare there. The normal church meetings go there now, but the place is massive. But like you say, churches got more money than anybody else, eh? I mean, it doesn't look like a church to me. Looks like a hangar for an helicopter to land on, like a bit of a hospital. But like you say, because now it says Hope Church on the side, you know it's a church. Right next to the school, David Lloyd, and this is the other part. So walk from up there, and then we've come down here. Now this is the other part of the water. Now you can see how it's slowed down more again. So now it comes down to here, under the path, and then goes all the way through. Unless you live here and walk past every day, you wouldn't know. So then it goes through here again. And there's another grid there in case any logs, because believe it or not, the water comes down here such a process you would not believe. Logs can actually get over that. And then the logs trap here, or weeds or whatever, and it goes against that barrier and stops the water flowing, as you'll see down here now with this one. So it looks quite calm now, and you saw how fast it was coming down from up there. And here we go, we get to another grid, and then you can see what I mean. It's all the little branches and twigs and people chucked away, and then they get caught in this one. So you can see how high it was originally to actually catch on that step bit of it. So you can see it does get really high. I see the box, you can't go on the walkway anymore. Used to be able to walk on that. So yeah. There's access water coming from the side streets, or the school should I say, overflows in. But yeah, so a lot of water. And as you can see here, I think you've got some more on this bit, where it started to block already. And the council come out quite often to remove all these twigs, keep the water flowing, because if they don't, it is really, I mean, look at the power of that anyway. It doesn't look fast, but that's going underground there. And that goes off somewhere down there. I've never followed it through, so all I know, it goes down through the town. So there you go. Just thought I'd show you that, something quite interesting. Hope Church in the distance. Hope that was interesting. And yeah, until the next one, thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like, it does help.